Well, I saw this and I just had to laugh. So, Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem are living on base on a military installation guarded by military personnel because they are scared of the public. Now, I totally understand politicians being scared of the public when they are doing things that people don't like. Now, you can do things that people don't like and still be doing the right thing. Okay? Think of the representatives in Minnesota, I believe, that were killed. One was killed with her husband, and then another was critically injured because they were taking care of people. Okay, I can assure you 100% that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz received death threats galore during their campaign, and Kamala Harris while she was in office. Right? Totally get it. Now, these people, this administration, are scared because they're doing evil things. The fact that they are living on military installations just goes to show you that they know that they're doing evil things. And they are getting extremely frightened of what is going to happen very soon if they continue doing these evil things. So we know Stephen Miller is the Deputy Chief of Staff of the White House. He's really the one who's making the shots. He is an extremely racist, bigoted Nazi who is an absolutely horrid person. He is Trump's mouthpiece. He is Trump's PR person. And he quotes things from Joseph Goebbels, who was Hitler's PR guy. So this dude is just 100% evil, right? Now, we know who Kristi Noem is. She's the head of Department of Homeland Security. She's the one who's doing all the ICE raids. Now, it cracks me up because the United States military has many minorities. Because the United States military preys on poor and poor people and minorities. Those don't always go hand in hand, but it's very common for those two things to go hand in hand. The military preys on those people to get them to join. There are a lot of them. It would not surprise me if there are military personnel who have family members who have been gathered up by ICE. Kristi Noem is the one who is telling them to do this. She is an evil person. Okay? Now, Marco Rubio, you might not have heard too much about because he's not in the news as much as Miller or Kristi Noem, but he is our Secretary of State. He's the one who is handling all of the deportations. He is the one who is handling a lot of lockdowns as far as internationally and things like that. He has a lot of power as well. So these three people that are staying on base are terrorizing minorities the world over. All three of them are horrible people. All three of them are 100% stains on the earth. And pretty much the vast majority of people in this country would be better off if these three were not around. Okay? Now, it is an unfortunate statistic that a lot of shootings have been veterans. I really hate to say that, but the fact that these three think that they are safe on base, when a large percentage of shootings and other acts of, I hate to say it, terrorism in this country of domestic terrorists have been done by veterans who would probably have access to base anyway if they had a real inkling to do harm to these people. I'm not saying I do, even though I'm a veteran and everything else, but it's really interesting. I also find it interesting if these people were arrested for their crimes while on base. That would just crack me up if that happened. I do believe Pete Hegseth is also staying on a military installation as well. So, yeah, it's just the fact that they are running and hiding behind the military should tell you that they are absolutely frightened out of their minds. So what is happening with the things like No Kings protests and everything else is working. So keep it up, because they are scared shitless, and that's where we want them, because they're going to mess up. And when they mess up, that's when we can strike legally, civilly, and in a civilized manner that does not play into their playbook. Okay? Because that's what they want. So keep it up, everybody. Keep on protesting. Keep on doing it in a civil manner. Do things like make videos and everything else. They're scared. They are scared out of their minds. So let's keep it up. Keep going.
When high-ranking officials start relocating to military bases, it's not a drill. It's about to hit the fan. Sources close to the Trump administration say key officials, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, have quietly relocated to military bases for their own safety. Officially, it's about civil unrest. Unofficially, it looks a lot more like they're posturing for a rapid pass to secure bunkers if things spiral out of control. So why the sudden fear? Could it be that millions of Americans are set to lose access to SNAP benefits tomorrow? That means no food money for families already stretched to the breaking point. When that happens, frustration turns to chaos fast. Even the possibility of protests, looting, and maybe even some burning cities. Sources inside the administration say it's preparing to declare a nationwide state of emergency if violence erupts. Quick reaction National Guard detachments are already being trained in every single state, and they could be mobilized in less than 60 days. And just when it couldn't get any stranger, President Trump confirmed plans to resume nuclear testing for the first time in 33 years. When pressed by reporters, he said it plainly. Yes, we're going to be conducting nuclear detonations. Now, this could be a coincidence, but when officials start moving to bases, the economy's collapsing and nuclear tests are back on the table, it might be time to ask what exactly they're preparing for.
Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, giving double honors to our apostles and our elders of the Church of Great Millstone, which is based out of New York, who are ruling well. Not forgetting our bishops and elders that are in Connecticut. And shalom, peace and love be unto all of the elect, the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. And real quick, this is not going to be a very long video. Just some news, that pretty much highlights prophecy. This is from the New York Times, and it's over different other news platforms too, which pretty much backs it up. Now if this is true, this basically, shines light on the prophecies. Okay. All right. Trump officials move into military residence in D.C. area. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth moved into a home at Fort McNair, traditionally reserved for the Army's Vice Chief of Staff. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and others are also now live in military housing. Quarters 8 at Fort McNair in Washington, situated along the Anacostia River, which they might as well just call Washington, D.C. Rome at this point. Send it back to its original name. Has traditionally been the home of the Army's Vice Chief of Staff, but at the beginning of President Trump's second term, it was vacant. The general promoted to vice chief position had opted to remain on a different base nearby across the Potomac. That provided an opening for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to claim it. As Mr. Hegseth settled into the home, which is in Army history notes is guarded by two Revolutionary War era cannons, All right. Other Trump officials also took up residence, all right, at housings built and designated for senior admirals and generals, all right, in the Washington area, which I want to say this too. Hey, they're going to give the military over to, private corporations. Okay. And we can also see that, what you have these billionaires that were sworn in, all right, to become, believe, honorary colonels or something along the lines of that. You had these which they didn't go through basic training. They didn't work their ways through the ranks. All right, they were just billionaires, of certain tech groups. I know that Palantir was one of them. All right, and then you have other groups as well. So they're going to be given over, all right, to private corporations. Now, that article pretty much cut off. Let's look at this one. It says the independent.com, top Trump officials Miller, Noem, and Rubio adopt bunker mentality with housing reserves for military officers report. And it says top members of Donald Trump's White House are reportedly living in homes typically reserved for top military brass in Washington, D.C., as the pullback from neighborhoods where their presence were often targeted for protests by the many Democrats, all right, who make the capital region their homes. So this is the scripture speaking. I want to go to, scriptures that talk about uprisings, that talks about, national rebellions, and things like that, which I recently just did a video going into 2nd Esdras 9. I'm going to read 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, and beginning at the 14th verse. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the counsels of their actions shall stand in their power. Which these individuals aren't just being targeted by Democrats. All right, they're being targeted by American citizens on the right and on the left that are upset at the policies that you're pushing. All right, see, they push in the media that it's just Democrats, 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 Democrats. But you have a lot of Republicans and those that supported the Republican Party of Donald Trump, all right, in his White House cabinet, all right, that are now turning on them because they're upset at the policies that you're pushing in America. All right, you have lost your backing, and the people are against the leaders, all right, of this place and rising up against them. They don't like, the things or the atmosphere of America, which is, setting the stage, for a showdown. All right, it's setting the stage for what can be considered a civil war. The book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter, speaks to the regard of a civil war. Isaiah 19:2, especially when you go into the G&T, really highlights that scripture. So people are turning on each other. How much more so these individuals, which they have been duped, and deceived into believing that these individuals have the power, all right, to make particular laws or to do particular things, which really is the rich elite banking families, all right, that controls what policies or what's done in this place. All right, all they're doing is just following the script and the role of the position that they were put into. All right, these individuals are typecast, for the role that they're playing, the role as the president, the role as, the military advisory, or the person that's running the Pentagon or over the defensive war. Okay. These individuals are just playing out their roles. There's a book called The Protocols that pretty much goes into this. These people are selected for those roles. They're not elected. Okay. So it's about to get ugly out here, for individuals that are politicians, and they are being targeted. All right, because these people are upset and angry. All right, they've thought that their vote had counted all of these years when it didn't, and they're really drawn into this democracy type, system, thinking that they have the ability to vote and make changes. All right, to vote and their vote counts. So when they voted for particular people to be in there, or rather they didn't vote, and they're seeing policies in America shifting in a direction that they're not with, all right, all of that patriotism goes out the window. Okay, and they feel as if they have no other option but to attack these different political individuals. So this is the reason why they're moving on military bases. All right, they're moving behind, all right, the bulwarks, pretty much to keep themselves protected from all of the chaos that's going on the outside. I want to grab this real quick. The Spirit is telling me to go to the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, and I'll read here from verse 8. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, and both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Which, the time is coming where this city, all right, this great city, which is known as America, but in Bible prophecy is known as Babylon, it's going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. All right, not only do you have these events going on the inside, all right, you have enemies that are ready to infiltrate on the outside. And if not physically, they want to infiltrate by ICBM missiles. Okay, so eventually, Russia, all right, who is also an ally to Venezuela, all right, might I add, and China is an ally to Venezuela as well. They're moving into that region, or probably have already been in that region. All right. So if Donald Trump declares war on Venezuela and Colombia, then basically that can provoke, a scenario. And then also, all right, don't forget about the Ukraine and also what's happening in the Middle East. See, everything is set up, for the fire to blow from the four corners of the earth. All right, for the wind to blow from the four corners of the earth. The only thing that's holding that back right now is the fact that a particular prophecy has to happen. And that's the prophecy of the mark of the beast, all right, which is the RFID chip and the brain chip. Once that happened, all right, then those four winds are going to be loosed. Let's continue to read. For the stars of heaven, all right, and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. All right, the sun shall be darkened, and is going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. All right, which it will happen after that thermonuclear destruction. All right, which is known as that nuclear winter. I do want to add this as well. There's a lot of talk from the Colombian president as well as the president of Venezuela, who's threatening that, Donald Trump can get touched, that his vice president can get touched, that these particular individuals that are provoking, this conflict between Venezuela and Colombia and America, that they could reach out and touch them, And I mean, exactly what I mean by touch. So this could be another, this is another reason why they're moving on those bases as well, because they're now targets, all right, by a particular hitman, all right, that can get access into, these American regions, and, handle, business or whatever, so things are really ramping up, man. All right, we're seeing those prophecies such as 2nd Esdras 9, 2nd Esdras 15 and 16 happening. All right, we're in a time of great judgment, and this is a time to be very diligent, all right, and also be very circumspect. Let's continue to read. And I will punish the world for their evils and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughty of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man more than the golden wedge of Ophir, all right, which the Lord is about to reveal who the true, all right, high value men are, which are the men that are of the elect. Okay, those are the true high value men. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall be removed out of her place in the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the days of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, and they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every man to his own land. All right, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Okay, which you have a bunch of individuals seeing what's happening in this place financially, are seeing that it's more lucrative to be in their country, and work from their country to make money. You got companies and businesses that are moving out of particular cities, let alone moving out of the United States, period. All right. You got the tariff things that are going on, all right, where they're putting, taxation, on particular merchants, so they're going back to their countries. All right. And then you also have that which is happening in this place, all right, politically, and how tension is rising between the American citizens and politicians, and also the American citizens and each other. So you have individuals that are saying, look, it will be safer for me to be back at home. All right. So you have that American flight mentality, all right, which people are leaving, or either people are not coming here. All right. Tourism is at an all-time low. All right. They're being advised not to come to this place. All right, this place is really breaking down. All right, the Heavenly Father is systematically breaking this place down. And it's just a matter of time before all hell is breaking loose in the streets. And also, those nuclear missiles are flying. Okay? So I'm going to end it there. It's 11:44. I hope that this lesson was edifying. Till the next time, Shalom.